Good morning, everybody. Lewis here with Inner Sun. How you all doing? Glad to be here. Glad to have you. I got a really good topic for you today. It's about change. The inevitable is happening all the time. Now, we all go through different times in our life where change is needed, and times in our life where maybe staying in the same place and giving something a shot, a little bit more of a chance, is more needed. Not giving up in a job or a relationship, for instance, just because it's getting hard or whatever. Then you might want to give up there. Maybe staying the same is there. Change can be good, but also building something up and working on something can be good. It's a time and a place thing. So I really want to make that clear in the beginning of this video because I've been through both stages for sure. If you all end up by liking this video, finding any kind of value in it, please like it, subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a ton. We're Inner Sun. We're all about wellness, mind, body, soul. So check out our Instagram too, inner underscore sun underscore wellness for more content like this. So let's get right back into it. I kind of have a few points that I want to talk about using my integration pillars that will help you kind of know whether or not change is good for you at this time and place. So let's say you're in a job and you're struggling, using that example. You really need to make a little bit of money. You studied for your certificate or your degree that got you this job, but it's just really stressing you out. It's eating at you. You feel tired and like you just want to give up, right? So I would really recommend using the concept of parts work too while analyzing your situation here. Okay, you have a part of you that may want to stick it through this job and get better at it and not give up. You also have a part of you that might be like, screw this, I'm done. This job is hard. The people I work around are annoying. I don't want to do this no more. So this process is to help you get all your parts shaking hands with each other and on the same page so that you can find a little bit of direction. So the first big question to ask yourself is me staying good for the long term or is it good for the short term? Is it just kind of like a short term solution to some issues, but maybe in the long run you really won't be all that happy? This pillar of short term versus long term can help somebody dissect a lot of choices they make in life, right? Like whether or not it's worth it to go to McDonald's today. That might be a short term pleasure, right? But in the long term, you're not going to feel good, maybe, that you indulged in that because maybe you also have a part of you that wants to eat healthier, right? So, and save money. So in this situation of this job, there's using the pillar of long term versus short. Did you just take this job as a short term solution? Is it really a long term kind of place that you can see yourself at? Do you see yourself doing this for the next year, 5 years, 10 years? You really need to consider all these things. I like to journal about this stuff when I'm making these kind of decisions. So helpful. You want to writing it all on paper, your thoughts, allowing your different parts of yourself and aspects to come through in your writing, like let that part of you that wants to stay there express itself. Let the part of you that wants to move on and get out of there express itself. That will help you find a little bit more clarity, right? So am I just doing this as a long-term thing or is it a short-term thing? Get clear. It's your choice, So there's pros and cons that you need to list out of staying or leaving. So this could be used in a relationship too, right? Very often people go through this dynamic with relationships or work, and work is a relationship in itself, your relationship to work and your job and your career and your trade or whatever. So have a plan, right? A lot of us don't even know what we're doing tomorrow or for the next few days. So have goals, long-term goals, short-term goals. This is so huge. It will help you get some more direction. And that's what the journaling and even meditation is helpful for. So you can stop going on autopilot and really take account to how you feel about what's going on. So you can take better course of action coming up. So another point that you want to consider and ask yourself, is it a love or a fear thing? That's another pillar that I use. Is it fear that's keeping you there? Is it uh, something out of love that is keeping you there? Is it fear that's keeping you from changing? Or is it something out of love that might want you to change and move to a different job or whatever? It's not a very extreme type of thing either. Remember, it doesn't mean you're gonna leave tomorrow if your heart decides that it's not the best for you. You want to be planned and calculated about all this stuff too, so that you can consider the needs of the part of you that wants that security and the safety, and meet it in the middle. I was a very like bipolar person in the past. It's something I had to work a lot on, and I was just a very extreme in the side of taking a leap of faith and all that. And there's value to that, but there's also value to doing things in a stability oriented way, in a step by step oriented way, in a calculated way. So that's huge. You write those, the needs of your heart down, the needs of your security down. And my integration writing and processes, I consider the chakras when I'm doing this kind of work, right? So security and fear is more root chakra oriented. The chakras that are talked about in yoga and Hinduism and Buddhism or Reiki and energy work. You don't have to believe in any of these philosophies to find value in what the different aspects of the chakras mean. And then there's the heart chakra. It has kind of wants and needs and characteristic traits too. So finding some kind of confluence between those needs and trying not to take any extreme measures too quickly. But you want to have some kind of vision of what's going on inside of you and so on. So you also want to consider the next main point. Is this something that you're going to regret later on from not changing, for instance, if you need to really truly change? Or are you going to regret it later on if you end up by leaving this place and you maybe part of you that was the stronger part of you knew that it was something you really should just work on and get better at, or maybe get better at communicating with the people in your work situation, and get better at, maybe it's your own thoughts about the situation that you can work on, like seeing the world through the negative lens all the time. And that's something that, sometimes with some people, very often actually, it's not about that job that's so negative or this or that. Sometimes people are just conditioned and condition themselves further to see everything as negative. So maybe it's your mindset that's worth working on, because thoughts are very often only as real as you want them to be. That's an important point right there. So maybe staying is good for you and you'll regret it later on if you don't. Or that relationship too. Is it a part of you that just wants to not be committed, maybe, to that job, to that relationship? Is that your ego part of you that is feeling challenged, that doesn't want to work on that job? Because everybody, I believe, has an ego on some level, and their understanding its characteristic traits can help you see more clear. Like it wants to be competitive and know it all. And a lot of times when you're doing something new, the ego is in surrender mode, or is going to get pushed to that point, because you need to learn and be humble. And you have a new job, you got to learn from people. When I became a personal trainer, I had some very experienced trainers and coaches in my environment that were really good at what they did, and they were helping people reach their goals, and they were making a lot of money doing it. And I was in the SF Bay Area, which is a very popular place for personal trainers to be, and it's a very competitive environment to be in. And I was very humbled, and my ego had to I had to stay and not give up in the beginning, because I almost wanted to, but I just had to humble myself and realize I had a lot to learn from these other coaches who have been doing it for 10, 20 years plus, and where the results that they were getting were showing it. And so that was a change that maybe I needed to, that was a calling that I needed to stay and learn and humble myself and let my negative thoughts go. So you kind of need to calculate all of those things, and the calculate your risks. This is another point I want to talk about. Every change is risky. Staying in the same place is risky. So almost anything in life takes some element of risk. Like if you're going to gain something new, you're going to lose something. So if you're going to buy a house, you're going to put your savings into it, and you're going to lose your savings, and you're trusting that a tornado is not going to hit that house, and that the insurance will cover that or whatever. There's an element of trust in that. There's an element of trust in yourself for being able to pay back the mortgage, maybe. So everything takes a little bit of risk. Leaving that job, leaving that relationship might be a little risky, but risk is not all a bad thing. You have to consider what risks are worth taking. So as you can see, this takes a lot of self-introspection. This is not like a one-size-fits-all tool for every person at every situation at every time in their life. It's not. But consider these kind of pillars and do the parts work. Make your risks very calculated. Give yourself a timeline. Okay, well, if I do change and leave this job, what am I going to do? What's going to be my next steps? Am I going to study something new? Am I going to start applying to new places? And what I'm also here to say is you're not going to always know the whole roadmap. Never, especially when navigating through change. There's a lot of surrender and faith that it takes. And writing in your journal about how much you are going to trust yourself to take the right steps and adjust your sails as the winds change is very important, because you can do a calculated risk and measure out some possibilities, but you got to be flexible too, because you never know what's going to happen. You might when I was a personal trainer at gyms, I just do it online now. The lockdown measures of a few years ago, of the situation that happened, kicked in, and they kicked in very strongly in the Bay Area, and I lost my ability to do the training in the gym. So I needed to accept that and find a plan and do something about it. I started coming online at that point, and even studying some IT stuff, because I want to have that plan and not be caught with my pants down without any kind of income coming in. So be flexible, have a plan of some possibilities and probabilities, but be flexible with that plan. Also trust yourself in each moment. Again, assess your different parts of yourself, the ones that need security, the ones that want freedom, the ones that want to listen to their heart, the ones that recognize that maybe their ego just needs to be put in check, and that's okay, and maybe it's time to stay and learn and humble thyself, and write all that down. So yeah, it's also something that, like I said, you don't want to get caught in a habit of choosing the same kind of mentality for every single situation where you might need to assess whether I should change or not. Because maybe you choose security this time. I need to stay. I need to be secure. That doesn't mean every situation. This is very important note that I want to end on. That means that every situation you don't want to use security and stability and fear for every single time that you go through this conflict. No, because it might be different next time. Next time, maybe it is time to change. So don't get stuck in a rut of how you basically navigate through change. Be open, be flowing, be receptive every day. That's why the writing and the journaling and the integration work and the meditation and the yoga, the healthy stuff you do for your body and mind, you make it your mind, body, soul hygiene routine, so that way you can always be present with yourself every day and not go on autopilot. Autopilot is the path of destruction. So I wish I can make a t-shirt about that. Autopilot is the path of destruction. It's we're not meant to be like that. We're meant to flow. We're meant to grow. We're meant to evolve. We're meant to change. We're meant to basically be our best version, and that's what I'm here to help you all do. My name's Lewis, here with Inner Sun. Thanks for all again for giving me your presence and attention. See you next time. Take care.